I'm here sat in Greece today, and I remember holidays just used to be, how can I get the most wrecked in a different city? That was literally my reality. Every holiday was, how can I get as drunk, consume as many drugs as possible until I felt comfortable. And I remember I was in Cannes at the time, so the south of France, Cannes. And me and my dad drove down for the Monaco Grand Prix. That was the whole point we went down. And I'm just trying to recall it all. So yeah, we drove down, went down in a nice car. It was a beautiful journey down, all the way through, I think, was the Alps. All the way to the south of France. And it was amazing. Honestly, even with the story I'm about to tell you, it was still completely amazing and a memorable experience. Let me just light this cigar. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Anyway, yeah. So we drove down all the way to the south of France, and yeah, the whole plan was to go to the Monaco Grand Prix. Anyway, we chose to go out the night before. We was going out pretty much every night and drinking, but the night before the Grand Prix, we said, oh, should we try a nightclub? So we tried this nightclub in Cannes. It was the Cannes Film Festival at the time. And yeah, we ended up there till about 4 a.m. And then I met some guys in the club. Ended up going back to their house in some mountain somewhere in Cannes. And I remember vividly waking up, completely messed up. Barely even waking up, I barely even slept. I had to walk all the way through the main streets of Cannes, like the shopping streets. And I was feeling absolutely awful. I was on the worst come down ever. And it was sweating, it was like 27 degrees. I was walking through, I was still in my clothes from the night before, so it was like all black clothing, jeans or trousers and a black polo top. And as you can imagine, when you're hungover, you're sweating anyway. When you're on a come down, you're sweating anyway. But then with the heat on top of that, I just felt completely awful. And yeah, I walked back about 11 a.m. through the main streets of Cannes and got back to the room and slept. That was on the morning that I was meant to go to the Grand Prix. Because I felt that shit and my dad had been out drinking all night, we said, oh, let's just stay in bed. And the amount of pain and regret and guilt that that the whole journey was meant to be about going to the Grand Prix. It made me realise like it was a serious problem, and then it carried on for years after that. That was probably 2, maybe 3 years ago. And I'm here in Greece today. It's completely different. I haven't drank for a long time, haven't used drugs for a long time. And it's so much nicer, so much more peaceful to just wake up fresh every single morning. Up early, we was up at like 4 to 6 today. In the gym, enjoying the sun rather than hiding from the sun because you're so hungover or on a come down. I just want this video to be that glimmer of hope maybe in someone's life where maybe they're going through the same situation. Every time they have a big event coming up, they self-destruct and completely ruin that day and they end up feeling like shit on that day. You know, you can change your life around. I'm an example of that. My life is completely different today and I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want to run away from my life the same way that I did over the last 6-7 years. Anyway, here in Greece, I think it's like day probably like day 160 or 170 of making a YouTube video every single day for 365 days and seeing where I end up. And today, we're in a beautiful place. Cheers, guys.